All right, now we move on to the game that probably should be the CBS game of the week. Number 19, Kentucky is in Knoxville. Number 3, Tennessee. Tennessee is a 12-point favorite. The over-under is at 61. That's a low over-under, by the way, for Tennessee. The game is at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Saturday night. It's a dark mode game. Tennessee's wearing all black jerseys. It's going to be interesting. Now, I think this game is going to go real similarly to the Ole Miss game, and that is that Kentucky is going to play oh so slow. We're talking cold syrup, like refrigerated syrup going on pancakes slow. And because of that, I am not sure if Tennessee's going to be able to cover the 12 points, Hammer.
I love that. I love that call. I'm on the same page here. Look, I think Kentucky is a team that, for better or for worse, almost always gets their opponent to play their style. That doesn't mean they win all their games. They don't have as much talent as a lot of the teams they face, but they do a really good job of getting teams to play their kind of game. And they do a good job of just hitting teams in the mouth, playing physical, dragging these games out. And I think they're going to do that here because it's kind of their only option. They don't have the offense to keep up with Tennessee in a shootout like Alabama did. They're not going to put up 49 points in regulation. So they absolutely have to lean on the run game and control the clock and just not give up big plays. And this is a spot where I trust Mark Stoops to have a good game plan. And look, Tennessee, I don't think necessarily they're going to overlook Kentucky, but they do have Georgia next week. So this is a tough spot for them. And I like your prediction there, where I think Kentucky will keep this closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah, boss man, last year Tennessee was able to win the game by 10 with only 14 and a half minutes of time of possession for the game. That gives you an idea of the way that Kentucky is going to go into this game. How do you see it going, boss man?
Yeah, I mean, look, Kentucky can try and do whatever they want. I mean, Tennessee scores on 3-play drives, on 5-play drives, and they just hit you with something 80-yard touchdown pass from Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is playing out of his mind this season. He's a legitimate Heisman candidate. He's leading the Heisman race right now, unless some services have C.J. Stroud, and that's fair as well. But he's going to go to New York this year. He'll be in that room, and he's going to be in Heisman contention all year. I think that Kentucky is going to try and slow this game down, as you guys said. But at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. This Tennessee offense is just firing on all cylinders right now. Jalen Hyatt is playing out of his mind. Hendon Hooker is playing very well. Tennessee just has too many weapons. This is one of the better defenses that Tennessee is going to play. And I really just don't think it matters. I think this Tennessee offense is just too much for anybody, except for maybe Georgia right now. So you also got to look at Kentucky and know that Will Levis, with all the hype that still surrounds him, he's been playing pretty well this year. He's gotten Kentucky some good wins when he's been healthy. But he's due for a turnover every game. He's going to give you at least one turnover a game, and against Tennessee, you cannot afford one of those turnovers, and you're going to get it. So I just don't think that Kentucky has enough offense to keep up with this Tennessee offense that can strike you so quickly. Before you even look up, before you blink, you can be down by 14, down by 20. So I think at the end of the day, I think Kentucky's going to put up a good fight, but I think that Tennessee, at the end of the day, probably wins this one by 20.
Yeah, all right. Hammer, let's do predictions. Remember also, this is a game I think Cedric Tillman is going to come back for in this game.
That's big news. I hadn't heard for sure, but glad to see him back. Honestly, it's really impressive what Tennessee's done in his absence. They honestly haven't missed a beat at all. So excellent job by Heupel and that offense. I kind of hit on it here. I think Kentucky's going to cover. I look for this game kind of to be similar to the Florida game in a lot of ways, but maybe even a little bit more, defense heavy. I think this is like a 35-27 type of a game. I just kind of talked about it. I think Mark Stoops and Kentucky will be ready for this game. They'll have their game plan, and their defense is really good. So I don't think that Tennessee is going to put up a 50 burger on them. Kentucky's not going to be able to score enough to win. I don't think they're going to pull an upset off. But I think this is a close game into the fourth quarter, and it's just going to come down to, Kentucky not being able to hang with Tennessee's playmakers for a full 60 minutes. There's going to be some lapses. There's going to be some coverage breakdowns that Tennessee will take advantage of to get the win. But I do like this one to be a close four-quarter game in Knoxville.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is like 11 straight games of over 30 points, and Kentucky leads the nation in consecutive teams that they've held under 24. So something has to give a little bit here. So, Boss Man, what do you have?
Yeah, I see probably a late cover from Tennessee in this one. I'm thinking like 38-24 final score. I think that Tennessee probably scores a couple touchdowns late to pull away and make this one look uglier than it probably was. It's a night game in Knoxville. Tennessee's going dark mode, like you said. That place is going to be rocking. It's going to be raucous all night. And I don't think Kentucky will really be shaken by that, but I do think that it's always better to play at home, always better to play in front of your fans. That Tennessee team, did it a few weeks ago against Alabama, and they obviously fed off the energy of that crowd. I think the same will happen in this game. I think that that quick strike offense that Tennessee has is just going to be too much, even if Kentucky tries to slow this game down, which is the only chance that they have. Even against that Kentucky defense that is one of the better ones that Tennessee has seen this year, I just think they're too much, especially with Cedric Tillman coming back. You got Brew McCoy, you got Jalen Hyatt, you got Jabari Small, you got Hendon Hooker, who are just all playing so well right now. And like I said, guaranteed one turnover from Kentucky, potentially two. They have fumble issues as well. So I think that you can't have those when you play Tennessee. You got to keep up with them. I think that those turnovers are going to continue to happen for Kentucky. And I think that Tennessee covers in this one.
Yeah, it's the real game of the week in the SEC. When CBS has the best game from the best conference, that's not this week. This is probably the game of the week. It is on ESPN at 6 o'clock Central Time. Tennessee, a 12-point favorite. The over-under is at 61. We'll see if that defense streak for Kentucky or that offense streak continues. Maybe both gets broken. Who knows? They might give up 28, and that's just everybody is just making mistakes at the moment. So anyway, tune in for